If you're someone that's looking to be as productive as possible, then this video is going to be for you. In this, we're going to be talking about the 5 productivity hacks from different millionaires that have been able to publicly discuss these things. And I've also filtered them through things that I have been trying to do over the last 9 years and running my multiple businesses that I have online so that I can tell you the things that have helped me the most as well. Because a lot of times you see productivity hacks for millionaires and entrepreneurs that are extremely successful, and that just can't apply to your business, right? I don't have time to do a 4-hour morning routine and that kind of stuff because I'm trying to build my businesses. And ultimately, I wanted to bring to you the most productive items that you can easily implement into your businesses now that will help you as you're growing and scaling, as well as help you once you're at a scaled point and you're trying to continue to grow that business. So let's go ahead and get right into them. Now, the very first one comes from Elon Musk, and we see a lot of entrepreneurs, especially successful entrepreneurs, that do this activity, and that is called time blocking. Now, the essential aspects of time blocking is that you're going to take your calendar, whether you have it in a physical format or you have an online Google Calendar, and you're going to break up your day into individual time blocks. Now, for some of the most successful entrepreneurs out there, like Elon Musk, or you look at like a Gary Vaynerchuk and other companies or people like that, they will break out their day into 5-minute increments so that they can maximize every single second of their day. They'll even schedule in breaks from time to time if they need to do that. They'll schedule in their workouts, they'll schedule in when they're eating, etc. But these 5-minute time blocks allow them to fill up every second of their calendar during their working time. Now, I personally will break out my day into 15 to 30-minute increments. Usually it's 30 minutes for me. That's what I've found to be the most helpful. However, as I've gotten busier and busier, I've started breaking it down into smaller and smaller increments so that I can schedule out my day even better. And I've noticed in my own businesses that this has helped me to be more productive because I'm planning the day in as detail as possible, and that helps me to get more done. Whenever I was first starting out with my businesses and I noticed that I was trying to schedule my day, I would usually do hour increments, or I would just leave a bunch of open time. And for me, as I've utilized this time blocking method, it's allowed me to put in more stuff into my calendar so that way I get it done, I don't forget about it, and it's not just on a random to-do list. I can actually implement it throughout the day and plan the day properly. Now, the second productivity hack from millionaires and specifically entrepreneurs, this one comes from Jack Dorsey, who is a co-founder of Twitter and Square. He actually utilizes a themed days approach to how he organizes his schedule to be the most productive. So on day 1, he might have management tasks, and day 2 could be a specific other operation in his business, whether it's sales or something else. And he uses these themed days so that he can have his mindset in the right place for whatever it is that he needs to get done that day. Now, over the last few years, I have been implementing this as well. I have focus days, I have free days as well. That way I have more time for creativity and that kind of stuff. And I also have just getting things done off the to-do list type of days. I wouldn't call those focus days. I wouldn't call them free days. I would call them something else. But ultimately, it is kind of the catch-all so that I can organize getting as many activities done as possible. So from a focus days perspective, I use those days as high leverage days to focus on things that are really going to move the needle forward, that require me to do a lot more mental work and even sometimes just scaling a business work, right? If I've got something where I need to work on my Amazon business and I need to focus on getting more wholesale accounts, then I will utilize my focus day for that. However, if I've got like little to-do list items, then that's going to go on my non-focus days, but also not on my free days. Those free days are for me to block out the whole entire day to work on just some bigger projects or to have the time to spend with family, that kind of a thing. So just by having these themed days, whether you want to theme your days by finding new suppliers for wholesale, you want to theme your days for prep and ship to send items into Amazon or another third-party marketplace, or if you want to have a themed day for creating your website or focusing on order fulfillment or scaling your business, these themed days will help you to be in the right mindset, especially if you combine it with the time blocking that we talked about in step 1. Because if you have a themed day with a time blocking schedule, then you know you're going to be focused on a lot of those little activities throughout the day. It will help you tremendously. I've also seen people like Alex Hormozy talk about having a day for meetings. That way you don't have the rest of the week where you're dealing with a bunch of meetings throughout the week and it's breaking up your week. You just have a day where you do all the meetings possible. Now, that can be difficult to set up from time to time, and I know I have not done that myself yet, but that themed day can help you to be as productive as possible on all the different days that you're working. Now, the third productivity hack actually comes from Tim Ferris, who is known for his 4-hour work week and 4-hour series of books where he talks about how to master different things in a 4-hour time period. And so I really love his books. He was one of the first entrepreneurial books that I I read back in college, I believe, maybe even high school. And Tim Ferris is a big promoter of the 80-20 or Pareto principle. Now, he utilizes his time and breaks down his activities into the 20% of activities that drive 80% of the results. That's what the 80-20 principle is. A lot of times you'll see that 80% of your activities drive 20% of the results. And so he focuses on doubling down on those key activities that will push the business or life or whatever activity he's focused on forward the most. And everything else outside of that he can outsource to other people, he does. And so this is an excellent principle to also combine with those first two options, right? If you have a themed day where you're focusing on sourcing suppliers for your business, where you want to purchase more products into your business. Well, if you've got that and you know that your best 20% of your activity is going to be spent on the phone talking to distributors, or your best 20% is going to be going through price lists and purchasing products, well, then you can focus even more intentionally on those focus days for those particular activities, especially if you then combine that with the time blocking in the beginning. So the hardest part with this is figuring out what those 80-20 principles are in your business, where you can drive 80% of your results with the 20% of the types of activities that you need to do, so that then you can outsource the other things. Now, if you're a brand new entrepreneur and you're just trying to be more productive, then you may have to do everything at first, but you are working on building up the key skills in your business that will allow you to then outsource the things that you no longer need. But focusing and figuring out what those principles and what those things are in your business that will get you the most results, that is a huge thing that you can just be thinking about throughout the week, especially as you implement the time blocking and the focus days, where you can ultimately figure those things out. Now, the fourth one comes from an entrepreneur that I believe everyone in the world at this point knows, definitely everyone in the United States should know, is Warren Buffett. And this particular task is focusing on the top priorities, or the 5 things that will drive the most results in your business. Now, Warren Buffett specifically focuses on these 5 things because they're the most doable items in your business. It's better than trying to focus on 20 things. You need to have 5 that you're truly focused on. Now, I've actually implemented this type of a thing in my life over the last 4 years with a power list. Now, this actually comes from another entrepreneur named Andy Frisella, and that is the power list of the 5 things that I do in my business or my life that pushes me forward in whatever areas that I'm concerned with. And so what I recommend doing is, if you are running a business, or if you have a side hustle that you're trying to get started, look at the activities that you're trying to get done and focus on those 5 activities. Sometimes even 3 is fine if you don't have much time. Maybe you've got a full-time job, you've got a family, you only have a couple hours at the end of the day to do certain things, or the beginning of the day. Well, focus on activities that are going to drive your results the most. This kind of comes back to that 80-20 principle that Tim Ferris utilizes, because you are then figuring out those top 3 to 5 activities that are going to push your business and life forward. This has been the number one thing that's helped me the most in my own entrepreneurial endeavors over the last 9 years. Now, the 5th thing comes from another massive entrepreneur that most people should know, and probably everyone in the world has in some way utilized a product from him. It is Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, or co-founder of Apple and Macintosh. And so it's a great opportunity to learn from him. This is something that is also kind of more difficult to do, but you can set up systems and structure in your day-to-day life to do this activity, which is simplify your decision making. You notice that Steve Jobs all the time wore the same black turtleneck, right? He would simplify his decisions for wearing the same exact thing each and every day, or at least for the majority of his days. He would also simplify decision making, such as what he's going to have for food and those types of things, so that way he didn't have decision fatigue throughout the day. Simplify those decisions in your life, even personal decisions such as food and working out, as well as some of the decisions in your business. Then ultimately you're going to be setting yourself up to have more opportunity to make the right decisions in your business, or the right opportunity to make the decisions for focusing on the right activities in your business. And so these types of activities can help you to grow and scale your business, because you are reducing the day-to-day decisions you need to make, and you're helping yourself implement the better decisions in your business or in your life moving forward. And so the way that I've utilized that in my businesses is I typically will work out at the same time every day. I try to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. If I go to bed too late, I still wake up at the same time every day, and I just operate on less sleep, which is no fun, but ultimately that's what I have done to simplify that decision-making process. I have clothes, they aren't always the same, but it's the same company in different colors, right? That helps me so that I don't have to worry about what I'm going to be wearing the majority of the time, unless there's some event I have to go to, right? Before I get to kind of a 6th bonus one that I want to talk about, these 5 action items of simplifying your decision-making, the one from Steve Jobs we just just talked about, of prioritizing the 5 tasks that will help your business or your life moving forward, from Warren Buffett and Andy Frisella, of making sure that you are time blocking and you're scheduling your calendar in an organized way, and that you are having focus days each and every day throughout your week, as well as making sure that you have the 80-20 principle in your business so you can focus on those high leverage activities. If you do these things, it's actually pretty easy to get set up. You can figure out what are those simple decisions that you can make on a repetitive basis. Then you can take a look at your business and say, what are the key activities that are going to push me forward? Then you can say, all right, in those key activities, do I create a focus day that is specifically focused on those key things? And then you start to organize your calendar and do these other items just in a systematic way for those time blocking and other pieces of information that we went through. Now, a 6th item that I do want to make sure I talk about that you see consistently through a lot of entrepreneurs, not everyone, but a lot of the most successful entrepreneurs and millionaires out there, they do try to prioritize their health in some way, whether it's working out, eating well, sleeping well, those types of things. So if you're interested in a 6th one, then I recommend trying to prioritize your health as much as possible. What are some productivity hacks that you like? Post them in the comments below, or have you tried any of these things? I would love to hear from you, and I'm happy to answer as many questions as I possibly can in the comments. But I hope this video helps you and blesses you. You have a great rest of your day and a blessed rest of your week.